Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fight Me Bro betting show. It has been, like 8 weeks now since we've had
Is
our
it
last
8?
fight? At,
I feel like it might be, yeah,
no, it
7.
was,
No, because we had Kevin Lee snuck in there middle of
that was the
at
middle
the.
of March. We're approaching, it's at least
Oh
week 7, I
yeah.
would say.
Okay, yeah. So it probably is about every bit of 8 weeks.
That's fucking nuts. But we are back, new setup. We're trying a Skype meeting setup, so bear with us with any technical difficulties because God knows we have a way to find them. But
Yeah,
hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll also keep our fingers crossed about the bets we have this weekend. Nick, you have a shit ton. You have
loaded,
7 bets.
a
I,
loaded card.
I only have 4 bets. So that being said, we're getting right into it because we are pretty fucking excited to bet, and
If I,
we're going live
yeah,
bullets this weekend for sure.
I was talking to some of our other friends when we told them some of our friends that don't pay attention to fighting as much when we told them that sports are back this week
Mm-hmm.
because and they basically thought that I was talking about basketball or something, which it couldn't be more wrong. Listen, sports to me constitutes as can is there some sort of athletic endeavor going on and can I bet on it? Is
Mm-hmm.
basically what I'm talking about if sports are back. Now I know there's been a couple places running horse races and there's probably a greyhound
Korean
track out there that
baseball.
huh?
I think Korean baseball is they're just fully back, but just no fans. But they put fake fans in the crowd, which is
Seriously?
which is very creepy.
That I don't know if it that seems like a thing that Korea would do though.
Yeah.
But my point was, look, if you put cockfighting on and made it and they had lines at the book to bet on cockfighting, sports are back.
Yeah.
I've been watching Last Dance. Look, Michael Jordan is out here throwing quarters at a wall, betting on
Yeah.
with the security guards. Like gambling is back at the first sign of there being a line that you can place a bet on.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, yeah, I'm super pumped. We got sports back. It's been way too long. I know how this ends, obviously, with me losing all my money, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes this card so fun that you don't really even have to have reasons. I can tell you right now, not that this is any different from any other week, but a lot of my picks, there's really no technical rhyme or reason to it
Yep.
because we don't even know how everyone's been training. So let me jump right into my first pick because this is the case in point right here. So first up, right off the gates, I believe it's the second fight up on the card after I just noticed too, somehow Sam Alvey had to sneak his way onto this card,
Of
which
course.
is just like, what are we doing? The whole card stacked top to bottom, and then you have Sam Alvey on the bottom. I don't know how that ends up happening. But right after him, we got Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa coming up. Bryce Mitchell, I feel like you're getting major discount dollars here at minus 160. That seems
Mm-hmm.
way too low for two reasons. Bryce Mitchell, a fine fighter, obviously, in his own regard. Here's the thing. Two things. One, if Bryce Mitchell can survive getting his nuts fucking skewered with a drill bit or whatever, he can survive Charles Rosa. Okay?
Yeah.
That point A. Point B, I don't know about Rosa being like a crazy person or whatever. You know, I'm sure he had to make some provisions, and not that I don't think he's been training hard, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, let's just say I bet his camp's a little light. Bryce Mitchell strikes me as the type of guy that he does not care at all and has
No.
not cared since day one about coronavirus. His training camp has gone literally as it would have had there been no coronavirus.
The
So
only breaks he's taken from training are to go protest for the government keeping us all in.
yeah,
That's probably the only delay in his training. He's like, yeah, I got to hit a couple extra protests. But besides that, he is just in the gym every day, business as usual.
exactly. So I think that in this matchup, not only do I think Bryce Mitchell is just a better fighter, period, than Charles
Mm-hmm.
Rosa, I think you're getting the better fighter with a proper camp
Mm-hmm.
against the worst fighter with an improper camp. I think this is a no-brainer. I almost made it my lock of the week right out of the gate, but I
Yeah.
think Bryce Mitchell here at minus 160, I really think that this is going to be fairly one-sided. I don't really see this being contentious.
And Bryce Mitchell, if we're looking at stock right now, he's just been rising. I feel like with the personality, so this is a win that I'm always on the side of what the UFC wants because, you know, it's like the NBA in the 90s. It's just I've never been able to shake the idea that the commission doesn't has somewhat of a play into the results. So I almost had that pick, but don't have it on there. Don't know enough about Charles Rosa that I'm like, it strikes me as I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. It's like, isn't that the first fight of the card?
No, I told you Sam Alvey.
Oh, Sam Alvey. That's right. No, but it's so low on the card that I could totally see myself being like, it comes out there, Charles Rosa. It's just a horrible matchup, and I'm just like, fuck. If I would have watched any fucking film on this, I would have known. But I'll just be happy I'm gambling. So my first pick is moving up a little bit higher up on the card. I'm going in the Calvin Kattar fight. I feel like this is
a little bit. Jesus Christ, it's over halfway up the card.
That's true. Come game day, I will be betting every single fight. These are just the ones I'm comfortable with advertising out of there. Everything else is just going to be shoot from the fucking hip. But one that I really like is Calvin Kattar, minus 240. Jeremy Stephens, kind of on a skid right now. I know he was streaking there for a little bit, but has lost to that top-tier competition, and I think Calvin Kattar is that top-tier competition. I don't necessarily think he is title contender worthy just yet, but this will definitely put him in the conversation. I don't see him finishing it. I wanted to do Calvin Kattar by decision, but Calvin Kattar is too dangerous on the feet. I could maybe see a flash TKO here, but I'm feeling pretty confident here with minus 240.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I agree with that. I the number there, anytime somebody's fighting Jeremy Stephens, once that number gets up there pretty high, I don't know. I just Jeremy Stephens is one of those guys that once he hits a loss streak, he's always due for a win that makes no sense.
Yeah, like a prove everyone wrong type of win.
Yeah, or like a keep my job for another 2 years type of win. And just with the whole Corona thing, this is actually one of the few fights that didn't make my card. So
really, I thought you would for sure have been on Calvin Kattar because you've been a big Calvin Kattar guy lately.
I know I have. I do really think that Calvin Kattar is going to win, but again, kind of like what you just said, that one I actually don't feel so comfortable going public with, just because again, you got to take into consideration some weird Corona shit. So my next one, we're only jumping up a couple fights. We're gonna go Jacare Souza, Uriah Hall. I had to do kind of a double take, but then I also remembered why I wasn't gonna do a double take and sort of flip-flopped around on this fight a lot. But my initial reaction was, why is Jacare Souza only minus 125? Then I remembered Jacare Souza is always shot. Basically, I've had, if you look up the last however many betting shows that we've had where Jacare Souza was fighting, I'm pretty sure somewhere in there I've said he's shot. And probably have picked against him every single time. And then I always look it up and I find out that, yes, he is in fact old as shit. And he was saying that he didn't even have a thing. So when I see him minus 125, Hall's at plus 110, I believe, it's a very close fight. But then I also double back and remember, when is the last time that people have been scared of Uriah Hall? It's been a long time since he's done. I mean, he picked up a decision over, what's his name? Antonio Carlos Jr., I think.
That was a painful loss for me because I think that was my lock of the week. That was so bad.
He picked up so he beat
That's a
him.
huge jump, though, from to go to Antonio Carlos Jr.
So he
to
beat him
Jacare.
and then knocked out Bavon Lewis. And then prior to that, he got erased by Paulo Costa. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And then he KO'd Christoph Jocko, who's not that great. But that was all the way back in 2017. So neither of these guys are very active. Neither of them are spring chickens. But I think I just got to be done betting against Jacare. I feel like I count him out in these spots all the time. And then what happens is he gets some sort of cheesy takedown. He'll end up dragging Hall to the ground, put away a round. Hall will get tired. His cardio's not like his overt strong suit. He'll rock Jacare probably sometime in the second. Jacare will come back, clinch up in the third round, and win. That's it. I just don't. Look, knocking out Bavon Lewis. We got to bring something more to the table than that. If you want me to think that you're a shoe-in to put Jacare Souza away, so I gotta take Jacare here to what seems like another discount price at minus 125.
I think the problem with Jacare is that he looks old with like the bald head. He looks like he's always looked older. And then when you see the actual age and then you see like how many fights he has, it just all adds up like, man, this guy, there's no way he's still like the athletic freak he's always been. But like his athleticism, I think his cardio's dropped off quite a bit, but he's still fairly athletic with like his grappling, and he does have some striking power. So I think, yeah, and I don't know. This just has, I feel like, Jacare grapple fucking Uriah Hall left it. Like from the beginning, he's just not going to mess around, and he's going to take him down and just like lay on top and be super fucking annoying.
This one ain't winning fight of the night. I'll tell you that much.
No. Unless Uriah Hall, if he does knock out Jacare, it's going to be ugly.
Let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah. All right, moving up. We have Big Francis, and then, what is it, Jairzinho? Is that how you pronounce it?
Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Rozenstruik. That's Rozenstruik, strong last name. I'll give him that. Strong name.
Strong name, period. Strong all-around name.
Where's he from?
Somewhere in Africa.
Is it an African one? I couldn't tell if it was like in Africa, if he was from an Africa country, or if it was like one of these weird like European countries. Like the name just gives me no fucking insight to that at all. But this fight, honestly, I don't feel
Surinamese.
And that for those viewers at home, that wouldn't know where Surinamese is, could you explain exactly where that is?
It looks like you were right. Wow. Dang,
Europe?
That makes me look
that's not a good look. Not a good look on you.
Not even close. Neither of us are right. South America. Suriname is right next to French Guiana and Guyana.
All right, you just got saved there big time. Oh, kind of. But I guess still looks
not the best look for your boy's geography, but we'll carry on.
I don't know how I feel about Francis's chance in this fight. For some reason, I'm a little bit.
Are you picking Jairzinho?
No, I'm going with the over here, 1.5.
Oh, well, we knew that.
Yeah,
anybody that's watched the show before knows that.
Yeah, it's just everyone thinks this is going under 1. I think Francis starts out a little bit slow and then puts him out. It's going to be a nail biter. I always said this. If I had to take a prediction, 2 minutes, 54 seconds into the second round. So it is a thin margin I'm going here, but I like the 1.5. Basically because I feel like Rozenstruik has fought kind of like he puts people away, but I don't know, maybe just because the Alistair Overeem fight, he
got worked for 24.5 minutes of that fight.
But it went 25 minutes into the fight. He has that survival technique. I don't think you could survive very long against Francis, but I think he's going to survive long enough to go over 1.5. But at first when I heard this fight, I'm just like, you gotta go Francis. And then for some reason, my confidence in him has gone down a lot. And also, it doesn't help. I think I read in an interview that he's just like, it's super hard to stay motivated because I haven't known when I'm going to fight. Like, this is the third time they're booking this fight, and every 2 weeks they're like, oh no, you're going to fight this week. You're going to fight this week. So it's hard to get excited and stay motivated knowing whether you're going to fight or not. And seeing that there's a guy that's had some mental issues inside of the fucking octagon, that does not make me feel good as a bettor. Because I might as well just put this on my fucking card because I know I'm 1,000% going to bet Francis anyways. But for the sake of keeping a good record for this show, I'm just going the over.
Okay, interesting. I also have that fight, and I got to knock out a couple extras, so I'll go.
Yeah, and fire off a couple.
3 of them. Mm-hmm. I'll fire off a couple here, so we'll jump up to that. I still have some other ones below, but so I'm going Francis TKO just because because of everything you just said. I think that he's really just going to have not necessarily the yips, but like that. What do we want to call it? That Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson energy where he just comes out and he wants to get this done ASAP. Like we need this. I want to get in, knock out, get out. And he knows that Jairzinho is he'll happily oblige. Like if he wants to rock 'em, sock 'em robots, both of these guys will be willing to do that. And I just think that, motivated or not, this is a case of just Francis is better at fighting than Jairzinho. And I think that if Jairzinho had any sort of wrestling or
Hmm.
something, if he had any tool set whatsoever that gave him an ability to game plan and redirect the course of this fight, work around Francis just basically forcing pocket exchanges
Hmm.
and then uppercutting his face into the seventh empty row, then I would bet on whoever is fighting Francis. Like, even say, I'd probably be tempted to take a guy like a Volkov here against Francis, especially because you're probably going to get pretty good odds. Now, I'm not going to take the number on Francis just because if you like, again, what are we talking about here? We're talking about Francis. So
Yeah.
the knockout line's minus 120. So that's on my card. Got to have it. I'd be hard pressed to find this being a Derek Lewis, we got the jitters situation. I
Yeah.
think this is a get this over quickly situation in Francis's head. Now that could work out bad for him. He could end up gassing out and getting knocked out himself.
Yeah.
But I think he's just better than it's basically like, who do you think's got better boxing? And I think Francis has better boxing. So backtracking a little bit, we go to the Cowboy Cerrone Anthony Pettis fight. There are so many people trying to hype this up as a rematch everyone wanted to see. It's not, but
No. No.
it's really not. That said, a very interesting fight, seeing that both of these guys are on pretty bad skids record wise. And
They're kind
so
of like in the same spot of both of their careers. I know
yeah,
Cowboy never was champion, but kind of had his runs, and they're both like just two guys that I feel like are seen with a lot of respect, and just go out there and we're like, hopefully it's just fun and no one gets seriously injured.
right. And that I think is plays very much into Cowboys' hands. Like Pettis is just I don't think we've been able to diagnose what Pettis' problem is. Like I think his problem seems to be more of just I can't figure it out. Or like I try this crazy spinning shit and when it doesn't work, it's not working. I knocked out Wonder Boy, but then I sort of get drowned by forward pressure with like these guys are very similar. Like
Yeah.
forward pressure, not great for either one. Type of a thing. I think that Pettis is more willing to take a back seat and let the other person lead, though.
Hmm.
And here's the thing with this fight: no fans. After that loss to McGregor, I think Cowboy he seems like a pretty rational dude. Not like you're probably not gonna climb the mountain again, dude. You're in it. You're
Yeah.
in this for fun fights now, which is I think favors him in this
Hmm.
because as we know, the big one is where he always just
Yeah.
doesn't show up, right? I mean, the RDA fight, McGregor, it's happened multiple times. He this there is literally no pressure. It's just, hey man, go out there, have some fun.
Hmm.
Fuck it. This other guy's gonna come and strike with you. You don't really have to worry about a big overimposing grappler. Not that he had to do that with McGregor, but just some of his other matchups. And so he's had to kind of worry about other stuff. He knows that he's gonna get if he wants to, and if he shows up, he's gonna get a Cowboy fight. And I just Cow not that Pettis doesn't come in shape, but just his willingness to just continually get backed up and then try to Liu Kang bicycle kick his way out of a
Hmm.
bad situation, it just seems like it tires him out because then he gets
Yeah.
backed up, then he tries some cartwheel kicks and just burns up the stamina bar, like just fucking chops that bitch up. And, and I just think that in a situation where like this very well could go 15 minutes, could be 15 minutes of chaos. And I just think, while that might not be enough time for the cardio to be a super, super big impact, like we saw and this is kind of a bad example comparing Tony Ferguson's pressure to Cowboys, but like Tony Ferguson just broke Pettis down,
Hmm.
and even if he got off the stool for that last round with the broken hand, I still think the end was near. So I'm liking Cowboy here. I just don't. I think that the first round might be a little dicey, but I just think that just consistency, forward pressure. I think we're looking at a nice clean-cut decision win. Or his chin's going to be shot and he'll get knocked out in about 30 seconds.
That very well could happen. I see. I was leaning toward Pettis actually in this one because of everything you said. It just, I like Cowboy here. I think he matches up well. I think it's gonna be a fun fight. The fans definitely big reason why I think Cowboy would do better. And for all those reasons, I just feel like the same thing with the Wonder Boy fight with with Pettis, where it's like I feel like this will be easy pickings for Wonder Boy, and then it's just like out of nowhere, Pettis finds a way to pull something out of his ass. This very much seems like a pull something out of his ass type, and then it's just like Pettis has done a great job at just staying just relevant enough. He'll take a couple of key like statement losses and then have one flash win, and everyone's like, is he back? Is he not back? And he's just kind of been sitting in purgatory this whole time. And this would be exactly the win that would be like, oh, Pettis is here to stay for at least 2 more years.
Pettis is the king of statement losses, as you just said. He really, especially these last 4 or 5 years, every time he loses, he makes sure there's a hint of positive. We're getting close to Wheaties box Pettis.
Yeah.
There it was. I saw it in the fight. If he could just put it together for 12 minutes, we'd be good.
I wonder if we'd like started a cereal company, how much it would cost to get Pettis to be like, we just come out with a one-time cereal. It's just, we have Pettis on the cover just so we could have a side-by-side, like, oh, how the mighty have fallen from the Wheaties bottles to the Wheaties box to the below the belt box. Moving on though, so that was that 2 in a row?
I have 3 more still.
Including your lock?
No. Yes, including the lock. So 2, then a lock.
Okay, well then I'll go 1, then you can go 2, and then we'll be good to go. So then for my next one, I'm going in the main event here. I'm going big on this one too. I'm going, well, not big, but they're both long shots. I have Gaethje wins by TKO, and then I have Gaethje at plus 190, and then I have Gaethje wins in the first plus 450. So I'm putting a whole unit.
First round.
Yeah, just because Tony Ferguson, he's always been a slow starter. He's a fucking savage, and everyone knows, like, if this fight goes over 3.5 rounds, like, it's going to be Tony Ferguson. Like, those last 3, 4, and if it goes to 3, 4, and 5, I think those last 3 rounds are going to be absolutely miserable for Justin Gaethje, because I don't know if Tony. It takes a lot of fucking knockout power to put away Justin Gaethje, and Tony Ferguson is more of like a death by 1,000 needles. And I think Gaethje would just be a human punching bag and just not go down and just let the CTE build instantly. But I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is everyone's going to leave really, really sad, because everyone's going to realize the Khabib-Tony fight is never going to happen, because Justin Gaethje hits hard as fuck, and Tony Ferguson allows himself to get hit. And I feel like he's been dropped. He's been hurt pretty bad. Like I know he beat the fucking brakes off of Cowboy, but he got hit quite a bit in the Cowboy fight. He got dropped by Pettis. Was he dropped by Kevin Lee, or was that just straightly wrestle fucking?
I think he did get clipped once, but I don't know if it was like a dropping. Like Pettis had him dropped and rocked. Lee, I think, took his feet out and fell. I'd have to watch that one back, but he hit the deck a couple times.
Yeah, and so like him
and Kevin Lee had full mount. I think that also might be part of what I'm remembering, where he was just sitting on him, beating his face in.
So it's like, and Gaethje, he's just been on an unreal streak of just finishing people early. It just seems like this just has the makings for the classic UFC moment where it's like, why the fuck did we do this? We were hoping to have sunshine and rainbows, and then have the Khabib Tony fight, and it's like, nope, we ruined it. And then now we're gonna have a foot race between Gaethje and Conor McGregor on who's gonna fight Khabib next. Because with Tony out of the picture, right away Dana White is going to be like, well, this has Conor written all over it to fight it.
Fight Island, baby. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll jump up. I just have Gaethje. Just took him straight outright with the number, the plus 165, for all those reasons. So, like I said, there's going to be some fights on my card that are just strictly they're Corona picks, and nothing makes any sense. I think under any normal circumstance, I'm picking Tony Ferguson. I like the cardio. Justin Gaethje admittedly says that I only have enough gas to maybe go 3.5 to 4 rounds, which is kind of fucking hilarious. That he's like, I'll just never be a 5-round fighter. So the other thing is I feel like so Barboza is like the exception to this rule, I think, but a lot of these guys that Gaethje's been knocking out, they don't throw a lot of variety unless who is he? So it's Barboza, Vic, Cowboy. I guess Cowboy.
Cowboy does.
Yeah.
But that was
Okay,
done
so that
so
argument.
but like that was Cowboy in the first round, which like he's very slow to start, and he didn't really get going before like he got knocked out. So I guess
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of. I just know that Justin Gaethje's. He's not a big head movement, sidestep laterally
no,
guy. He's a
no
big go into
forward.
the boxing shell. Like he just goes like Muay Thai shell style. And then as soon as they're done throwing, he's going to throw that low kick back. And then after that, follow up with a big left hook.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I mean? Like he's somebody with a Tony Ferguson striking arsenal is going to be able to expose that. So normally I'm picking a Tony here, but yeah, it's Corona. Things are weird. There's no fans. I think it's just going to be like, if you don't have music or anything on in your living room while you're watching this fight, I think it's going to just be one of those situations where, yeah, they get into one of those sort of you go, I go dances, and then Tony throws some leg kicks, does some somersaulty shit, and then Justin Gaethje just lands that left hook from the fucking heavens.
And Gaethje
everybody sees Khabib Tony just get flushed down the toilet.
Well, like Gaethje also kind of has nothing to lose here. I know it's like, okay, a loss here does kind of put him, but like, how much does that really put him back? You know, he took a late notice fight against
like who's he going to have Ferguson. To step down to fight? Conor?
Yeah.
He's
so
still
like the no pressure, the no fans, and plus the Justin Gaethje-ness about this, where he is definitely the type of guy that like you could give him a title shot in 2 weeks and he's just seeing it as like a regular fight. And so like I feel like that. Just giving him this opportunity is gonna be like, all right. And then Tony knowing like there's so much on the line. It's late in his career. This is probably it's very lopsided, and like, you know, I could see it maybe being like, you know, look at the Kevin Lee Tony Ferguson fight. Like that was the biggest fight of Tony's career, and he got washed in the first round. You know, and it's like if he gets washed by Justin Gaethje, it's not going to be with wrestling. It's going to be with fucking power. And I could see it. It's going to be sad, man. It's good. I mean, I'd be happy for Justin Gaethje, but it's like going to be like, fuck.
We waited all this time for nothing.
Yeah.
We literally got to the end of the movie for nothing to happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm curious though. If I had to guess, you're going to see a lot of line movement on this.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be like some straight up stock market shit.
Yeah.
Like Saturday morning, you're going to wake up. This baby's going to get down to plus 125 something. Then I bet there's a ton of late money that comes in on Tony with people being sort of having their come to their senses moment of what the fuck am I doing? This is Tony Ferguson. And then the line's going to move back. I bet there's going to be some pretty radical line movement on this one. So before we get to locks, I'll throw my last one in there. Obviously, we're going to jump down to the co-main event here. We got the King of Cringe versus kind of in a weird way, like almost the former King of Cringe. Like Dominic Cruz has never been. I don't think anybody's ever thought of Dominic Cruz. Now he does. If you watched any of his interviews, when he was sponsored by Monster and Fox Racing and basically like every high school hero's, he was literally sponsored by like the high school hero dream sponsorship package. Like I think he might have been missing a chewing tobacco company, and he would have been sad. But
he was basically the whoever the main character in Never Back Down was, if like just went on to become a UFC champ and just lived in that same universe and that same mindset.
Yes, I can't even believe Ryan McCarthy. Yeah. Dominic Cruz is Ryan McCarthy, just without tattoos. Oh, well, Dominic Cruz does have tattoos, so he's and versus Henry Cejudo, and I got to be honest, I thought about this one long and hard.
Don't say it.
Oh yeah, we're going with Dominic. I'm taking Dominic Cruz with the number at plus 190 in this fight. It makes no sense.
Oh no!
It makes absolutely no sense, and this is probably one of those. There's about a 75% chance that he's going to get knocked out or get leg kicked, and his knee's going to explode in the first round, and that's it. And I'm going to like egg on my face, look like an idiot. Here's my thought process. One, I told you, Corona picks. That anything goes in this event. While Dana White's billing it up to be the craziest event ever, things are going to happen that don't make sense. There's no fans. I don't even know if Joe Rogan's going to be there live. Like, is he going to actually be cage side or is he remote? Who knows? Like, it's just going to be a weird situation. People are getting tested for things. You can't whatever. Dominic Cruz is talking circles around Henry Cejudo on these press conference calls. It's just complete mental decimation. That said, like, Henry Cejudo is basically better at almost everything, I would say, has literally almost all the advantages. Here is sort of what, if Dominic Cruz can come back, the big thing is, can he avoid getting taken down? Which I'm not sure he can, because he's fucking old.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can. If he can avoid getting taken down at will, though, and he's even in the 75% range of what he used to be, because here was basically, I know Marlon Moraes is a fucking enormous bantamweight. He's huge. Okay, so this is not necessarily an apples to apples, but it's like an apples to pears. They're in the same family of foods. Moraes, his entire problem is he gassed out, right? Like, I think we can all objectively see that. Anybody that watched that fight watched Henry Cejudo get his ass kicked for about 8.5 minutes and then figure out, oh, this guy doesn't have the cardio to just basically compete in the clinch, and I'm just going to beat the shit out of him. I don't see Dominic Cruz having that problem, because Dominic Cruz has great cardio, and Marlon Moraes is a knockout artist. Like, that guy tries to put people away. Dominic Cruz, that dude isn't knocking out a scarecrow. Like, he's not. He could go down. He could weigh in for 135 fights and not knock out 125ers, and he knows that. So I don't think he's gonna get tired, and he's a fuckload taller than Henry Cejudo. Everyone is. So if he just does Dominic Cruz shit and is just breakdancing all over the octagon and score, it's not going to look great. It's not going to be some sort of flashy KO, wow, Dominic Cruz. It's going to be like, did he score barely enough points to win? But I think that's a possibility here. And at plus 190, I can't ignore that number.
I know. I mean, I see what you're saying here. And even I had debated it. Like, then I chalked that up to Corona thinking. You're overthinking this. Like, at the end of the day, like, Dominic Cruz is the better fighter than Henry Cejudo. He's the more skilled
I don't
fighter.
know about that. I just think the weight class difference makes a huge – dude, Henry Cejudo's an Oompa Loompa. Like, this dude –
But, like, I'm talking skill-wise. Dominic Cruz has better technique. He has a better understanding. Henry Cejudo is just a freak of nature, like, athlete, and he's got a hell of a pedigree in wrestling, and like, he's athletically gifted, and he's super durable, and like, that's why he was able to beat the shit out of Moraes, because one, he hits hard as fuck, and two, he's able to receive a lot of fucking damage. So I could see a world where it's like in their primes, like Dominic Cruz just being like, doing Dominic Cruz shit and just winning rounds, and like Henry Cejudo not being able to close the distance, and that's what made me think, maybe, like, maybe Dominic Cruz does have he has the skill set to beat a Henry Cejudo type. However, when you just look at like it from a raw, natural perspective, like this fight is taking place in every single ecosystem out there. In the fucking savannah, it's in the lions, it's the fucking old lion that's like, oh man, this guy's wise as fuck, but then the young buck just comes in and beats the shit out of him and kicks him out of town. And that's exactly like
that very well could happen. I'm prepared to deal with. I'm prepared to hold that L. So
I just cannot, like, I respect your pick because you put your nuts on the table. This is my lock of the week is Cejudo minus 205, 210.
I thought we were going to have the same lock.
No. And then Cejudo also by TKO at plus 245, just because I can't let my brain sneak in and convince me that like Dominic Cruz is going to be anywhere near what he used to be, because that's what happens to me all the fucking time. I bet on goddamn Thiago Alves. Like, I bet on fucking Thiago Alves.
I'll admit that is a concern.
That is me. That's like, I will hold on.
That's a small concern of mine.
I will hold on to all threads. Like, okay, maybe he's still got it. And it's been so long. And I know, like, it helps that Dominic Cruz has come back from long layoffs, but it has never been this fucking long. And like,
man, he's never been this fucking old.
And he's never been this fucking injured. Like, the injuries are just adding up so much.
I mean, I think he's always been this injured. He's been this injured for a decade.
I guess
I'm more concerned about the fact that he's 35.
Yeah. Like, which isn't, I guess.
Honestly, I will say this though, I would have predicted him to be a lot older.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's been 38 since he's been 28. So
Yeah.
it's like so he by that math, he's approaching 50 years old in body years. So like, I just maybe if a round one win and everyone's like, oh my god, it's gonna happen, and then round two goes out, and then it's like Henry Cejudo's be like, dude, this guy is made out of fucking fiberglass. I'm just going.
Oh, see, I think that's totally different. I think you'll be able to tell pretty quickly if he comes out and he's breakdancing all over the place and he just is like a ghost to Cejudo in round one. I would be willing to think, holy shit, I'm a genius. Like, I would lean towards that.
That's what's going to happen. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I won this fight. And then Henry Cejudo is going to be like, fuck this. I'm just going to get this guy. Like, I'm just going to get my hands on him. I just
don't think that. I think you'll be able to tell if he's slow in like round one. Like, if he's too, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I just think that if he's fast enough to evade Cejudo, then I would very much trust that he's going to keep away from his little T-Rex arms for a while. And if he's not, and if it's just like he gets chin checked in the first 30 seconds, oh boy, this guy is, he is 35 years old. He is very slow. I think then that I'm counting the seconds until he gets obliterated. So surprised that's your lock though. Just because I'm surprised you left this one off. I got to be honest, this seems like stealing to me. Just purely matchup. This one I went back to the books. So as you can see, I don't have one hard and fast strategy, but I go back to the books for this one. In the Michelle Waterson and Carla Esparza fight, getting Carla Esparza at minus 140 seems like, and that's like criminal matchup wise.
Yeah.
If there's one thing, like, I don't generally like to bet on Carla Esparza. A lot of what she does infuriates the ever-living hell out of me with just throwing herself into submissions and largely in part having basically, well, actually, I take that back. Her last couple fights, she's done a better job of like punching into takedowns. So I will give her that. The thing with her is she unabashedly just makes it known, like, I am going to just shoot chain takedowns. Now, she's not nearly as good at it as Tatiana Suarez, but I would say given the lack of wrestlers in the division, for someone that can do it over the course of 15 minutes, because Claudia Gadelha would then be option number 2, but she can only do that for about 2.5 minutes, and then she gets completely exhausted, where Carla Esparza does have a 15-minute gas tank. I love Michelle Waterson. I have a really, really this is just mean matchmaking. Like, Carla Esparza is not going to want to stand and strike with her at all.
No.
So you're basically banking on Michelle Waterson to throw these crazy kicks and catch Carla at some point in the 15 minutes or at least check her enough where she thinks that I shouldn't be shooting these takedowns. And I just don't. I mean, unless she catches one of those side kicks right to the floating ribs or something, I don't see that happening. I think Carla's just going to like keep forward. And Michelle's got I don't want to say it's not bad. She's got a very competent ground game of defense, but I just don't think she poses I say this as Alexa Grasso almost submitted Carla Esparza, but I just don't know if Michelle's got the constant chain submission toolbox to really sub Esparza from guard, basically. Yeah. I think that's where this fight's gonna take place. Is gonna be in Michelle Waterson's guard. So can Michelle Waterson sub Carla Esparza off her back? I personally think the answer is no. And then I think she's gonna find herself on her back in at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. I just don't think that I think it's a tough spot to have Esparza in here at minus 140. Given just stylistically, this is just a mean matchup, I feel like.
Yeah, because if Carla's able to get takedowns, it's like once grappling is a thing, it's so hard when you're the undersized person, and Michelle Waterson's always undersized at the weight class. So, like, yeah, it's just going to be like a floundering fish on bottom. Like, but the reason why I'm not taking this is because I've lost too much. I'm out on that stock. I fucking sold that stock. I've lost too much money betting against Waterson, and then the one time I switched back, then she lost. So I just can't. I need to take a little break from her because, like, every single time, I don't know if it's just the perception I see of her just being small always weighs a factor with me, even though I know she's a good fighter. It's just this has the exact same mindset of being like, oh, Carla Esparza, the more physical grappler against the smaller Waterson. This has a fucking easy W, and then it has me fucking losing again. I'm sure once Saturday hits, I'm going to be betting probably on Esparza, probably by decision. But
the other thing with this one too is they both wear T-shirts, so the T-shirts cancel each other out. You don't even have to worry about putting your money on a T-shirt person.
That's probably why I bet against both of these people quite a bit. I think probably because
they wear T-shirts.
Yeah,
that's a big factor in the betting.
Yeah, it's just a weird look, guys. You need to do something about it. But anyways, that is our show. We have a lot of action. We will be live tweeting these, and we will be getting quite intoxicated for it because, guys, we have sports back. And what are you supposed to do when you watch sports? Drink and gamble. It is only right. And twins. So you can follow me at BroLeva. You can follow Nick at _a_guy_in_a_gi. And obviously you can follow us at Below the Belt MMA on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So other than that, we will see you pretty soon because we got like
Saturday.
We have 60 million cards to give breakdowns for because
people are sleeping on this Anthony Smith Glover Teixeira card.
Real barn burner. So we'll see you guys, I guess, later this week for that. Peace out. Take it easy.